is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and just around the corner is the general election on November 5th. So we saw it fit to talk to Sherrie Swensen, Salt Lake County Clerk, about the vote-by-mail process and the security of it. And our History Minute is about the city's inspiration to Stephen King's The Stand. Let's get started with our legislative update and look back.
At its October 15th meeting, the City Council held its first briefing about the second budget amendment of the year, which included discussion about maintaining the city's art collection and overtime pay for additional police patrols in the city. They heard from the airport about their budget and plan to increase the size of their redevelopment in order to accommodate even more passengers than they projected. They also held a briefing on the 300 West reconstruction project and heard about a proposal to create a fire board of appeals. To learn more, visit slc.gov/council.
Once every decade, the nation counts its population. The next count is in spring of 2020. Your participation in the census matters. It makes sure your family, your community, and your city get fair representation in government and access to resources for education, affordable housing, healthcare, transportation, and more. Whether you're documented or not, everyone living in our city counts. Make sure your community is counted in the 2020 census. To learn more, visit census.gov.
As our region and nation continue to struggle with the affordable housing crisis, we are here today to show what is possible through partnerships and collaboration. Home ownership not only brings stability to the lives of people who live inside those four walls of a home, but to an entire neighborhood.
We know that there are so many others out there who are working hard each day to realize the American dream. And we say to you, don't give up. It is also why funding sources and programs, such as what the city will be announcing here today, are so important. What they do is give households, like the Melendezes, a way to find stability, which in turn help their children and grandchildren grow in confidence and gain access to opportunities that they didn't have when they were young. It's programs like these that strengthen our communities and bring us together as a human family.
Your vote, your voice, make it count. Now is the time for you, your family, and your friends to join Salt Lake City's 91,000 registered voters. The general election is on November 5th. Don't forget to fill out, sign, seal, and return your ballot by mail or at a ballot drop box location near you. The time is now to get out and make your voice heard. Sherrie Swensen, the Salt Lake County Clerk, talks to us about how her team ensures election results are processed in a timely and accurate manner.
We are on a vote-by-mail system primarily, and we mail a ballot to every registered voter. So someone registers to vote, and at the beginning of the process, we order ballots for all of the registered voters. We have to send an extract to our ballot vendor, have them print ballots and deliver the ballot packets to the main post office. They then mail out the ballots to all of the registered voters that are eligible for that particular election. I think people don't realize that we actually do a signature verification for every ballot that is returned. So first of all, we have what we call an Agilis machine. The ballots come in from the mail-in ballots, or if they drop them in a drop box, and they're run through a big Agilis machine. And in that Agilis machine, there's a barcode. It logs in that the ballot's been returned by that voter, and it also takes a picture of that signature on the affidavit on the return envelope for that voter. And then it's digitally displayed alongside the signature we have on file for that voter from their voter registration record. And then that signature on that return envelope is compared to the signature that we have on record for that voter. If they don't sign that affidavit on that ballot envelope, or if it doesn't match, we then send what we call a cure letter to the voter telling them the signature doesn't match. And they're given an opportunity to sign a form and then allow for their ballot to be counted. So the security is excellent. We track the ballots very carefully. I mean, when they're returned, you know, we account for the ballots that are returned. They're under very secure environment, and we definitely make sure that the person returning the ballot is the person who should have returned the ballot. Our scanners that handle the paper ballots are not hooked to the internet. Neither are our electronic voting machines. Nothing is hooked to the internet as far as the voting equipment. But we also have early voting and election day vote centers. So for people who don't vote by mail for whatever reason, maybe they didn't get a ballot, they might have moved, not updated their address, they may have lost their ballot, or whatever reason they want to vote in person, we don't offer just vote by mail. We also offer in-person voting. And that's really important. I would never run a vote by mail election without in-person voting being available. And the neat thing about our in-person voting is it's generic. In other words, an early voting location, whether it's here at the county government center, we start 2 weeks before election day, or at our satellite locations throughout the county, they can vote at any one of them. Long gone are the days, as well as the election day vote centers, when you have to go to a certain polling place where your precinct is listed. It is generic. You can live in Salt Lake City and vote in Harriman, or vice versa, and it makes it really convenient. My website has a lot of information, again, got-vote.org, and we're always here to answer questions that anyone may have. We want to help people through the process and encourage voter turnout, so we're happy to help.
And now it's time for our History Minute.
According to best-selling horror novelist Stephen King, Salt Lake City was one of the chief inspirations of his landmark novel, The Stand. In an interview, he talked about seeing news about a chemical spill in Utah that killed a number of sheep. He said, quote, "I remember a news reporter saying if the winds had been blowing the other way, there was Salt Lake City." Placed on top of these horrifying thoughts about Salt Lake City, King combined his idea for a Lord of the Rings-style battle for good and evil and formulated the foundation for The Stand. The Stand itself tells the tale of a group of survivors after a man-made biological apocalypse. In the early 1990s, a television miniseries adaptation of The Stand was produced, and Salt Lake City, the site of the story's inspiration, served as one of its biggest filming locations. Stephen King and cast and crew descended on the valley and shot everywhere from the Church of Our Lady Lourdes and the Avenues to the Boston and Newhouse buildings. It ended up being a huge success and seen in more than 19 million homes, and the miniseries won 3 Primetime Emmys.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Capital City News. Join us next time to stay up to date on all the latest. For SLCtv, I'm Poonam Kumar.